Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 story, A Wandering Dork with me, Daniel. It's Season 3, Episode 5, and today we're back for a crucial game at the top of the Vanarama National League as we try and stay in the title chase, playing against the top side Chesterfield at home. Just the one of the two planned games today, mainly due to a waterlogged pitch cancelling the Torquay one. I really wanted to show you it, but it just hasn't worked out, so unfortunately we won't be able to show that one live today. But we start on the profile of Ethan Vaughan to avoid any spoilers since the last episode, but also to show you someone who's improving remarkably. One of the biggest effects the mentoring group has had is on this player, Ethan Vaughan. His personality is now fairly professional, his determination's shooting up, and a lot of other mental stats have changed for him as well, which does bode well for the coming years. He's our backup right back at the moment, but he's running Jack Broom very close, and with 5-star potential we want him to reach it, and a good personality will help him get there. He has made 10 league appearances and 5 others in the cup, so he's certainly not been starved of football, and at 20 years of age, after helping us to the title last year, it looks like we're able to give him something back. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops over the next year or so, particularly given his improved training performances, and you can see his progress chart is gradually creeping up, though where we've had to rest odd players after games, they're not able to progress quite as quickly as we'd like. Of course, promotion to the Football League would solve that, as we'd then be a full-time professional side, but unfortunately it is looking a bit less likely now, as we've just dropped off the boil in the last month or so. So let's go to the home screen and see where we are. While we do so, a massive thank you to everyone who continues to follow the series. I really do appreciate your support with it. And of course, if you haven't checked out our other new series, The Head Coach, yet, please do go back and check it out. It's a journeyman combined with a director of football challenge, and in the last 2 years it's been really enjoyable, so I hope it'll be the same again this season. If you're enjoying this series with Dorking, please do put a thumbs up on the video, and if you're new to the channel and like what you see, then subscribe for daily FM20 content, as well as 2 videos a week from Cricket 19. But let's have a look at the table. 3 points behind Chesterfield with a game in hand. Of course, a win today puts us back in charge, but it hasn't been plain sailing in recent weeks. We did brilliantly over Christmas and actually got a decent lead at the top of the table, but it has gone a little bit wrong since then, and we're hoping to redress that today. The finances yo-yoing just above and below zero, unfortunately just into the negative again now, but at this stage last season we were nearly $1 million in debt, so that shows just how well we're doing at the moment. We've got loads of players performing well, so we will go and look at them briefly, but we've also got a lot to get through off the pitch as well. A lot of results on the schedule to look at, as well as the preview for another youth intake at Dorking. We're hoping for a good one after the first 2 years, so let's see if we're going to get one this season. So we'll start with that on the development centre. We've got one player in the under-18s that needs attention, needs better focus and application, but you can see he's absolutely woeful, so he's not going to make it. We're not going to focus on him, and of course with a squad of our size we can't take away individual coaching from someone else just to try and help a youngster like that. But let's have a look at our youth intake preview, and again unfortunately it's not a great one. Don't expect much from this youth intakes to stand out line, though there are a few decent players coming through. There are a lot of wingers in the system, although it does say further down that very few of them are good. There's one wide midfielder who looks a decent prospect, and one English central defender who caught the eye. But I've said that before and we've not had any good ones, so I'm hoping we will get a surprise this year. Richie Sutton a pretty good judge of player ability and potential though, so I'd imagine if he says it's not very good, he's probably not far off the mark with it. We've also got one bit of news on the staff in front. In the last episode our assistant had just left the club. He'd gone to manage Eastleigh and we needed a replacement, and it's taken an awful long time to get one in. We had an advert out for 2 months, but the applications were absolutely awful across the board, until finally a familiar name popped up at the 4th attempt. Nick Haycock, who I think was our assistant at Torquay. He was certainly somewhere before. Maybe it was in the head coach last year, but I definitely remember him being about somewhere. A fantastic assistant manager, brilliant across the board. He's a really good coach as well, and that's going to help us immensely on the training ground and hopefully result in an uptake in form. He actually joined the club since the last game, so I'm hoping he'll have a positive influence and we'll almost get the new manager bounce, even though of course he's just an assistant. But I'm really impressed with him. We paid £5 grand to Chelmsford, but he's certainly worth it for a coach of his calibre, and we've got him on a 2.5-year deal, so we haven't got to worry about replacing him anytime soon. So let's go and have a look at the schedule quickly to see the results since the last episode. You were of course with me for that double header at the end of November, as we played Ketter in our head coach side in the National League and Dagenham and Redbridge away in the Cup. Since then we lost away to Barnet, a difficult result as we went 1-0 1-0 up in the first half, Whittaker giving us the lead on the stroke of half time, but in truth Barnet deserved their victory. Then into December, a brilliant run of form, a 2-1 win to start at home to Sutton, a late red card after Whittaker got a brace, a late winner included in that, and then a 5-2 win away to Hartlepool. It was 2-2 with 10 minutes left, and then Terrell Whittaker turned up with a hat-trick, the 83rd, 85th and 87th minute. An absolutely remarkable goal-scoring display, and again we continued our efficient form defensively, a 1-0 win in the trophy, out Cameron Archie getting that goal, and then a 2-0 win at home to Dover, Albert Adoma and Aaron Presley with first half goals. A 2-1 win on Boxing Day against Fylde, against 9 men for the vast majority of the game. They actually held us to the hour mark where Fabio Lopez completed his brace, and with it he managed to get the winner for us, which led us into our victory against Dulwich Hamlet. Tom Whelan with a 91st minute goal. We really struggled in this game, but an absolute screamer at the end set up by Adoma, and it's exactly what we needed, just that moment of inspiration. Then into January it's all gone wrong, no victories in our 4 competitive games, and we had a game at home against Chertsey Town, a side I watched win the FA Vase at Wembley in real life last season. A brilliant little team, but we managed to beat them 3-0, and I'm hoping that'll give us confidence going into today. But looking at the competitive games, we drew 2-2 away to York, all first half goals, Adoma and Presley for ours, and then a shock in the FA Trophy which seemed to start the spiral. Gallagher and Presley got our goals, we rested nearly the whole 11 and we looked completely out of sorts. Spennymoor absolutely dominated the match and deserved their 95th minute winner. Then away to Bromley, another bit of disappointment. They had a red card to former West Ham man Freddie Sears in the 2nd minute, but they managed to nick a 94th minute equaliser as we just failed to put the game to bed. And then at home to Aldershot, a 1-0 defeat, a difficult game against a good side. They're up in the playoffs and they outplayed us for the most part, and you can see now they're still up in 7th place. But today we can still go top with a win, and we would have taken that at the start of the season. After a difficult spell we want to get back in form, but it's going to be hard against a Chesterfield side that are blitzing every opposing team in front of them. They've won 5 in a row, we've not won in 4. All of the ingredients add up to make for a defeat, but of course that's the beauty of football, you just never know what's going to happen on the day. So I'm going to make one change from our last competitive game. Adoma's had a poor couple of games, so Josh Georgie's going to come in for him. A winger on support, we know he can do it, so that's going to be the player coming into the lineup. It means we've got Ramsbottom in goal, Broom and Zamura are the fullbacks, Humphreys joined by Lomas in the middle. We've got a little bit of concern with Humphreys, Bromley are sniffing around him. We've tried to offer him a deal on a proper contract. Of course he's pay as you play at the moment, but he wants 700-800 quid a week, and we can't afford to make him the best paid player at the club. You can see his ability doesn't reflect it, so it's not something we want to do straight away. So if he goes, we might just have to go back to Harbottle and hope he can see out the season for us. We've got Hundemark and Smith in the middle, Smith back from a long-term injury which should help too, and then Lopez and Georgie coming in on the wings, with Presley and the free scoring Whittaker up front. He's in brilliant form, 16 goals in 20 starts now, and he's also the best rated player at the club, even taking over the Lone Star Matt Smith. So let's get into this game against Chesterfield, a massive top of the table clash in the National League, and fingers crossed we'll come out on top and produce an emphatic return to form. Well, it's a 4-3-3 for Chesterfield, a difficult formation for us to face. They've got some really good players and they're one of the favourites for the league, have been all season in fact, so although we'll tell the lads to get out and prove a point, we know this is going to be a really difficult test. We'll stay on a balanced mentality to start with, not go to our usual control in this instance. They're a good side and we don't know that we won't get overrun in midfield, so I don't want to gamble too early on. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, it stopped at 7:25, but we haven't got a highlight and it's in a bit of a weird position, though the camera does eventually come back. It's Forbes on the right, it's Chesterfield coming forward, Spencer picking it up in the middle, it's a lovely switch to Buchanan, he's unmarked on the edge, shoots and it hits the woodwork, flies off to the right hand side where Woolery the striker gets it, and he goes back to Mbala. Ball in, Broom misses it, luckily it looks like it was intentional, and it goes behind for a goal kick, but we've certainly had our first scare of the match. 10 minutes gone, it remains 0-0, but Chesterfield showing a threat already. Well, 5 minutes to the break, we've seen no further highlights, a yellow card for Humphreys as well as 2 of the Chesterfield defence, but no highlights at all in that first half after the shot, and that's a brilliant outcome for us. I'm not too displeased at being level. So Nick Haycott wants the lads to prove a point, we're going to tell them exactly the same thing. Most of the lads motivated, so we'll stick on balance for now, and if we get to the hour mark without further threat, then we possibly will go to a positive mentality. I didn't expect this to be quite such a dull game, we might be able to show the next one as a result, result. We'll see how long the episode is after this match, though Chesterfield are starting to build an attack here. We've got a warning to close down Mbala. We'll of course trust Haycock with that, as Woolery holds the ball up front for Chesterfield. They've caught us out with a run in behind. Zamura chases Forbes, he's not going to get there. Back to Mandeville on the byline, and he's got a chance to cross Forbes into Mbala. The keeper flaps at absolutely nothing, and unfortunately the away side take the lead, and it looks like they're extending their lead at the top. So we go into positive, we'll demand more from the lads, and in 5 minutes we'll think about a few substitutions. Well, just 25 left. We've seen absolutely nothing from our lads. No shot on target at all. And it looks like our bad run's going to extend today. I'm starting to get a bit worried that maybe the buzz of promotion's wearing off from last year. It so often happens with promoted sides in the pyramid. They start really well for the first half of the year and then gradually crawl down the table towards the end. Of course, we'd love to hang on for the playoffs. There's areas of the team we know we can improve. Jack Broom's going to have to come off even though we haven't got a right back. Harbottle will come on for him. Lomas out to right back. Humphreys to right centre half, and Harbottle, the left footer, will play at left centre back. We've got Hundermark playing poorly in the middle. We're going to bring on Gallagher this time for him. He'll go as a ball winner on support just to try and get in and amongst the midfield three. And then Giorgi's had a poor game, as has Lopez, so Albert Adoma will come on as an inverted winger. We need a bit of heroics off the bench here. I'm not quite sure we're going to get it though. It really is a bit of a worrying spell for the club. We're losing games and don't really look like scoring. Zamura with a ball over the top though. Whittaker's in one-on-one, puts it in the corner, and Whittaker only needs one chance at the moment. A lovely cartwheel in celebration. What a wonderful moment from the centre forward. He really is revelling in the captaincy here. 1-1 and we're back on level terms. My word, we certainly don't deserve that. First shot on target, but Whittaker only needs one chance, and that's the beauty of having an informed striker. It's Woolery on the right hand side though. Chesterfield coming straight back forward, and Forbes has picked it up 25 yards out. Mandeville to Spencer and back out wide again. We just can't get close to that midfield free. Forbes into the box. Humphreys hacks away. Only as far as Spencer though. It's relentless pressure from the away side here. We can certainly see why they're top of the league. It's back to Spencer 30 yards out and now Mandeville keeping possession brilliantly, and it's out wide to Buchanan who's coming forward again. We might even have to drop the wingers back. Ramsbottom does well to tip it over the bar, but I don't think we can take this risk anymore. Adoma's going to drop to left midfield, as is Lopez on the right hand side, and we're just going to go for a classic 4-4-2 and hope that makes things a little bit more solid. Of course, we've been playing this attacking formation since the National League South, and it's worked really effectively for the most part, but normally we are leaving our defence a bit exposed, and while they're vulnerable I think we should help them. And Bala into the middle, but the offside flag's up, so we do hang on for our draw for now, and to be honest I'd take this with a game in hand if we could keep the gap at the top down to 3 points. A much better second half for the neutral, although Chesterfield have got a corner here. Roberts the sub delivers, it's headed over the bar. We're going to ask the lads for more, we're going to demand more and just see if they can eke anything out of the last 10 minutes. We just need one more chance to nick it. Is Roberts coming forward again with a corner though, into the back post to Rowley. They've got two unmarked in the middle, but they go back to the edge and Bala puts it in. It's offside though, I don't quite know how. Why on earth's the flag gone up there? It was a corner that went all the way through, so the player can't have been offside from the corner, and then it's gone back to the edge of the box for the shot. I really am a bit puzzled as to why that's disallowed. Maybe there was a player in the line of the keeper. Certainly didn't look like it from the shot though, but I'm not going to complain if we can get a draw fortunately. We'll certainly take a bit of luck on this occasion. But hang on, Presley's in from the flick on. We might nick this, you know. It's tipped over the bar and it's going to be a corner. Just our second shot of the match and we nearly win it. We've had 2 shots on target, 1 goal and 1 great save. And now Smith with a corner with the right delivery could possibly find us an undeserved winner. Let's see what he can do with it. Into the front post. Presley nods down. Blocked on the line and cleared. Leyland just goes for safety. Hoofs it into the stand. That could have been one of the most important moments of the season, but it looks like it is going to be a draw. They're slowing things down. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's just good game management from the lads. It's 1-1 and we've not got time wasting on. I'm not sure why they aren't chasing the win. Lomas delivers. Whittaker misses it. Adoma falls for him on the edge of the box, but Maguire's challenged him well and cleared it, though it only falls for Harbottle on halfway. We just need him to get rid of that. Don't lose possession there. You've got a 2-on-1. Humphreys goes long over the top though, and I think the whistle's just about to go. A brilliant brilliant game of football. We did so well to fight and come back, and although we definitely didn't deserve a point, we managed to get it thanks to Whittaker's strike. An 18th of the season for him, he's been sensational, and we'll tell the lads they've done really well today. They've remarkably kept themselves in a title race. They've been fighting so hard all season, and even in this tricky run they've given everything, and despite that defeat against Aldershot, we managed to nick a few draws while we're out of form. So we're 3 points behind Chesterfield with a game in hand, though a few of the sides below are starting to catch us, although there's that massive gap to 8th place outside the playoffs, so I think a top 7 place is almost secured. Let's go and see what the media said about the game. Dorking lucky to draw, we're not going to argue with that. We pretty much said it the whole way through the match, and we certainly won't disagree with the media's view there. 1,500 through the gate, that's one of the best attendances we've had this season. I'm really pleased with that. We're starting to get fans through the gate, and of course why wouldn't they for a game between the top two, a professional side coming to face us at Dorking, and of course we've been exciting the fans for most of the season, despite having a few off days in recent weeks. The Rochdale manager Keith Hill's been sacked. We've been linked with a few of these jobs recently. We were linked with 21st place Wickham in League One, a really good club with a decent ground. We actually did a match day vlog there a couple of weeks ago. Myself and my co-host of the Honest Football podcast went to the game. It was Wickham v Tranmere in the FA Cup, and we were lucky enough to interview the Tranmere chairman too. A really enjoyable night out, and you can catch up with that in the eye above if you want to see it. A massive thanks for giving it a try. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. But on this occasion we've not been linked with it by the looks of things, so I'm not quite sure why it's actually showing up in our inbox, but as a result we'll just ignore it, and we'll go and praise Whittaker for saving the day. It's been fantastic all season. What a signing he's turned out to be. Got another year's contract as well. We did have a bit of interest in him and Presley earlier in the season, but that looks to have passed as we've got an extra year on their deals. He's another one that keeps training really well. He's been a fantastic professional all season, and he's in that group trying to improve his personality, so I hope it will work as we go along. Just to give you a bit of an update on that group, we've obviously got a few experienced players in there now too. So Presley's moved to fairly professional and he's now got a good influence on the group. Whelan's resolute with the same influence, and then Jake Gallagher's still of course the leader of the pack, a team leader with a professional personality, and he's had a significant influence on so many of these lads. I'm even tempted to keep him in next year just for that. He really has been so beneficial in that sense, and although he does only play a bit part in the squad now, he really is crucial for us off the pitch. But we've got a Doma in there as well. He's fairly professional with an influence. And of course even Vaughan's moved up to there now as well. And we've got loads of lads who have a balanced and resolute personality. In fact, I think Giorgi's ready to be taken out there, so we can get a bit more focus on the group. Of course, as many of them in there as possible is great. The reason for that is because it also affects the social groups too. So the lads then hang out together, and you can see many of those are in the core social group. The secondary group seems to be most of the experienced players. You'd probably expect that with the age differences in the team, but you can see Presley's moved into that secondary group now, and I'm sure a few more will as they work with them for longer. But you'd expect at a club all the 18, 19 and 20 year olds to hang out, and then the older over 30s to get together as well, so I'm certainly not surprised by anything on that screen, though it is nice to see one or two ticking into the other group. But if we look at the overalls, everything's going pretty well for us. Jason Pryor, the worst trainer, we'd probably expect that. Unfortunately, he has decided to retire at the end of this season. I will make sure I give him at least one National League appearance. He really has been a superstar for us, so crucial in that promotion last year, and in the first year he helped us really overachieve, otherwise we never would have got near the playoffs. If we hadn't done that, who knows how many of the lads would have signed for us. They might not have wanted to join a bottom half team, so he really has had more of an influence than most, and we will certainly give him a send-off at the end. But let's go and have a quick look at the schedule, see where we'll be back for the next episode. I've got to say one of the differences this season is we have had to cope with a few more injuries, and though the way the lads have done it have been admirable, we certainly can't praise them enough for their performances. So I probably want to come back for 2 more episodes, maybe one about halfway and one near the end. So let's have a look at those 2 home games in the middle of March. Halifax and Woking, where are they in the league? Halifax are down in 23rd, Woking down in 22nd, so I'm not going to worry too much about showing those. Let's look at Barrow and Ebbsfleet either side. Ebbsfleet in 5th place, that's going to be the game. That's the one towards the end of March, and hopefully that Tuesday night under the lights will be joined by another youth intake, and we'll be able to celebrate on 2 fronts. Hopefully we'll still be in the title race. But if you did enjoy this episode and that hard-fought draw to keep us in the title race, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. Of course we didn't deserve to get a point, but the spirit and the character these lads show allows us to continue to perform above all odds. We've struggled a little bit defensively in the last month, probably the biggest change this season, but we've got our settled back four back now, and I'm hoping they'll be able to renew their partnership. As we mentioned at the start, the head coach series started about a week ago, so do make sure you go and check that one out if you haven't already. I really have enjoyed it for the last couple of years, and I feel like this season's going to be just as good. So subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content. The 2 long-term stories will rotate each day, so the head coach will be back tomorrow and then this Dorking save in 2 days' time as we try and keep ourselves in the title race, and hopefully we can push for a Football League place next season. And as I mentioned, I'm also part of a podcast where we'll have live match day vlogs, and we've got interviews with former or current football people, so there's a link to the YouTube vlogs in the eye above, and we're also available on Spotify too. We've interviewed the likes of former Premier League referee Bobby Madley, and of course Mark Palios, the Tranmere chairman and former FA chief executive, so I really am having a great time with that, and it's an opportunity to go to lots of football as well. Lower league football is one of my favourite things, so I certainly try to get to as much of it as possible, and I hope you enjoy seeing part of the action too. It's certainly led to some really enjoyable experiences. But a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support of the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for our big game away at Ebbsfleet, and hopefully a good youth intake as well as we try and stay in the National League title race.